Hello and welcome to this manual handling course. Manual handling causes over a third of all workplace injuries. In this introductory lesson, you'll learn what manual handling is, along with its types and who's affected by it. So, without further ado, let's get started. What is manual handling? Getting right to the point, if you need to move an object using your physical body, that's manual handling.
The term manual handling covers a wide variety of activities, including lifting, lowering, pushing, pulling, and carrying. If any of these tasks are not carried out appropriately, there is a risk of injury. It doesn't matter if the thing you are moving or handling is a living being or an object. Nor does it matter if the object or equipment you move is heavy or not. If you have to make anything move in the workplace, you'll need to pay attention to the information in this course. Manual handling also involves repetitive movements that you might have to make while you are on your work premises, such as sliding boxes, steadying something, transporting items, carrying files, restraining something, working on items such as welding nuts and bolts in a steel factory, using tools to complete your job.
Note that manual handling is not limited to the tasks above though. This is simply an example to give you an idea of the variety of tasks that you do daily that are acts of manual handling. Now, let's look at other types of manual handling in the workplace.
Manual handling can involve spontaneous acts that are not part of your everyday duties, such as assisting a colleague momentarily with their tasks, preventing a fall, administering first aid, taking in a parcel, moving an obstruction, even making a cup of tea. To clarify, you are manual handling any time you are using your physical body for lifting, pushing, pulling, supporting, catching, holding, carrying, steadying, lowering.
You should have a basic idea about manual handling at this point. Now it's time to know who is actually affected by manual handling. Everyone is affected by manual handling. Who doesn't lift, move, or maneuver things during their day at work? Even if sometimes manual handling is infrequent, you are subject to manual handling risks. Though, to clarify and avoid risky assumptions, we summarize everyone affected by manual handling in the next section. Who does manual handling affect? Let's take a look. Manual handling affects staff members. We've already begun to establish that as an employee of a business, you will be at risk of manual handling injury, which is probably one of the reasons why you are here taking this course.
You are at risk every time you move anything, but your actions can also affect others for better or for worse too. Not only do you need to consider your safety when handling objects, but you also need to consider how the consequences of your actions could harm other people. Here are some problems you might face. Dropping something onto another person due to incorrect handling. Causing injury to a colleague if two people are handling an item together, like moving boxes or furniture. Positioning something somewhere where a visitor or member of the public may have to move it to get around it. Crashing into somebody because of a lack of focus or awareness of your surroundings.
Not surprisingly, there is legislation in place that places responsibility for several health and safety duties firmly at the employee's door. Though it's not only the employer's legal responsibility to keep things safe, it's yours too. Manual handling affects visitors as well. Occasionally, a visitor may attempt to lift or move an item in your place of work, perhaps because of an obstacle. They could even experience a manual handling injury through a simple act, such as moving a chair to sit down.
That's why there should be measures in place to ensure that visitors don't need to handle too many objects manually. If they do, precautions are required.
The public is also affected by manual handling. If you are working from your work premises, then you must consider how your work activities could put other people at risk. In similar ways to dealing with visitors, obstructions or even accidents due to poor handling may cause harm to a member of the public. Manual handling affects employers. It's the employer's legal duty to ensure that the correct instruction, information, and training are provided to anyone with manual handling duties.
As part of this legislation, employers must educate their staff on what the hazards are and what they can do to avoid, limit, or control the risks. And that's not all. Employers also have to show their employees how to conduct risk assessments and why they should, what mechanical aids they might use to avoid injury and why, how to avoid unsafe loads, how to review, monitor, and reassess practices in the workplace.
As you can guess, manual handling is no joke. It's one of the most common causes of injury at work, and manual handling injuries contribute to more than 1 in 3 injuries throughout the workplace. Now that you're up to speed on the basics of manual handling, it's time to learn what can cause injuries, along with the types of injuries that can occur. Let's look at how manual handling injuries can occur at first.
It's not just the holding, lifting, pushing, and pulling of objects that cause manual handling injuries. Injuries can occur because of repetitive maneuvers. The number of times you need to push or pull even something very light can cause a manual handling injury because of the repetitive strain you put on your body.
It's crucial at this stage to shed some light on factors that cause manual handling injuries.
Acts such as the following are all examples of how we can become injured even with the lightest of loads. The distance you have to carry an object. The height at which you are retrieving or placing the item. The frequency of maneuvers. Twisting, bending, and stretching. To accomplish a task, you might have to get into difficult or awkward positions. The type of load you are carrying, i.e., a moving object or fluid, can put you off balance.
As you are probably aware, these types of frequent maneuvers are all everyday work activities. Now, let's get to know where manual handling injuries can occur.
Manual handling injuries can occur everywhere, and so the risk is everywhere too. A great rule of thumb is to remember that even when you are on your break doing a task that you don't normally do, heading home or picking rubbish up from the car park, you are at risk of injury, and awareness of the potential risk is required. Even if any of these activities happen even just once, and it involves you having to move something, it's a high risk and serious issue.
And that's it for this lesson. We trust that you now have a basic understanding of manual handling and the dangers associated with it. In the following lessons, we'll dive deeper into the different aspects of manual handling. See you in the next lesson.